NAMM 2018. We're back with Nick of Korg, but you're also with Waldorf because Korg has established a relationship with Waldorf. Tell us about that.
Yes, Korg is now the exclusive distributor of Waldorf in the US, and we're very proud to announce Waldorf Quantum, which is the newest synthesizer from Waldorf, and it is a complete flagship design with some incredible features. 8 voices, but each of those 8 voices has 3 stereo digital oscillators. You have 2 analog filters, and those are classic Waldorf analog filters per voice, as well as a digital former, which can cover all sorts of stereo filtering that isn't covered by the filters. You have a huge touchscreen, multi-touch enabled display, 3 LFOs on the front panel, and 3 LFOs more in software for 6 LFOs per voice. You have complex modulation with function generators. You have 3 envelopes on the front panel, ADSR envelopes per voice. We also have even more envelopes in the menus, which are really easily accessible via the touchscreen. And of course, you can see your sounds on the screen as you're creating them, as well as use the touchscreen to do things like drag the filter around with resonance and cutoff. The Quantum is essentially a sound designer, film scorer, anybody who does sound for film and television or wants to create music that is just completely otherworldly. The Quantum is the just absolute king of that style.
I'm a Waldorf fan and owner, and this has been out there as a rumored product for 2 or 3 years, and it's obviously built at a very high level of quality. Did Korg help with the development of the instrument?
So though Korg is very proud to distribute Waldorf in the United States, Waldorf's development is still completely independent and located in Germany. So though Korg and Waldorf synths complement each other really nicely, we're still very much independent and going strong with Waldorf and with Korg development.
So the sonic capacity of the Quantum really is very, very significant. What is the potential of creation for this?
This can really do basically anything. So this is going to go down in history as one of the most powerful synthesizers of all time. You can create incredible soundscapes. You can create sounds that were previously only possible on modular synths or within software plugins. You can literally change the signal path of the analog portion of Quantum right from the touchscreen, which is incredibly wild. We're so excited about this synth. It's essentially everything that you would want in a plugin, but in a fully knob per function analog digital hybrid.
Well, Waldorf is known for virtual analog. Is this real analog? Is using also with the virtual analog, or how does it configure?
So over here with the oscillators, there's 3 of them, and they each have 4 separate engines, one of which is a classic wavetable oscillator. Fans of Waldorf synths, and even going back as far as the PPG, will be really pleased to see that.
Right.
Then there's waveform, which is where you have your standard analog style waveforms. So those are analog modeled waveforms. You're going to get your saws, your triangles, your square, pulse width modulation, of course. And then, of course, there's even further, you can really get into pretty wild wave shapes that are not really possible in the analog realm. And then the particle engine is where you can load up a wave sample and essentially turn that and turn that into its own oscillator and really get super in-depth with the way that you can control that. And then Resonator is a very, very interesting engine because it uses comb filtering and the resonance of self-oscillating filters to essentially create sounds that are really only possible with analog filter banks. But these 3 oscillators, they're stereo, they're digital, but over here we have those classic analog filters that Waldorf became known for. And like I said before, 2 analog filters per voice. It's pretty wild. And you also, on the output panel over here, this is multi-timbral, and you can have 1 timbre assigned to 1 pair of analog outputs and another timbre assigned to a completely different pair of analog outputs. You have 2 sets of stereo outputs on the back, and you can have one timbre going to one and one timbre going to the other.
So Nick, when is this going to be available?
It's going to be available very, very soon, at last.
So thank you very much, Nick, representing here the Waldorf Quantum, here at last, a reality and one that is very desirable. NAMM 2018.